This is episode 6, as we've mentioned, titled "In." In three, two, one. Couldn't find the timer program, so I was like hesitating. Well, we already started the countdown, but I'm not ready.
Pedro, Pascal, and Bella Ramsey.
Game of Thrones.
They were in that show. Like I said before, it'll be interesting to see if we get this exact same intro for season 2 or if they tweak it a little. I could see them going either way.
If they tweak it because Abby is basically the secondary protagonist
hmm
and the antagonist.
I could see season 2 shifting away from like the more warmer tone colors we're seeing here, a bit more blue, a bit more wintry,
Well, we're
given that
seeing
we know
that in
what's
the
coming.
posters.
hmm
Because I remember the posters for this were very green and brown, and the posters for this have been like white and black. And
Yeah, and we saw that all the way back when the initial game came out, where all the marketing was really around like that upfront summer section. You didn't really get a sense going into that game that, oh, this is gonna be like a year-long story where we see different seasons and stuff. Like all the marketing was primarily that summer stuff.
meanwhile, at hunting,
Hunting.
is this the David episode?
No, we're a couple away from that. So this is so these are a couple of new characters invented for the show that I like. It's just a one scene.
I like this. They're.
Uh,
I like that actor. He's one of those that's like, oh,
oh yeah,
that's that guy.
character actor man who's been in a million things.
Yeah.
uh, but it's very evocative of the game. Like just a couple of people that Joel and Ellie run into,
Well, and I assume that he's
asking for
holding rabbits as a
directions.
reference to the rabbit.
Good call. Oh, my name's Joel. Do you think season 2 will get back to these people? Do you think we could see them in Jackson, or do you think we never touch on this again?
I'd be fine if we never touch on them again. But it could be fun if they're just like moved to Jackson for safety once we have that.
Because the context we're gonna get in the scene is they're asking for directions. They're like, "Oh, don't go that way. People disappear over there. There's bad people there. We don't fuck with that area." Which we'll later find out is Tommy's group. So you'd think that once Joel and Ellie go back, at some point Joel would think, "Oh yeah, remember that like nice elderly couple we met? Maybe we should go find him and invite him back to the
Oh, not
community."
necessarily.
It's something I
This
think.
this is Joel, the man that was like, "Yeah,
Right?
leave those guys on the side of the road to die."
Yeah, but these people are nice. Yeah, I could see them going either way. And it is a little addition that I like where they're kind of lost. They're like, yeah, we don't know where we are. Like, we have some maps, but we don't have GPS anymore.
I mean, it was 2003. They barely had GPS.
Yeah. Hey, many a dad in 2003 swore by GPS to their grave.
I remember MapQuest
Oh, God.
having to print out like 6 pages of directions.
Wind River Reservation, that's the name of that movie. It's in the same universe. I like that joke. What? There's Firefly people. God.
Oh, Jesus, what are you showing me here?
And that's a thing that the second game will play up a lot. Like, oh yeah, like every city kind of had like their own versions of the Fireflies, many of which failed. And I mean, the Fireflies obviously went across multiple states, but still, like, yeah, they aren't like as big and important as you're led to think they are at the start of the first game. So that's a little addition I like, where you have a couple people who are like, yeah, we haven't heard of these fucking people. We don't know what you're talking about. But it's fine. Joel and Ellie are
We're
gonna
getting
find
really
them.
close to season two.
Oh yeah, and this is a little shift in the timeline from the game, where at this point in the game we're in fall, and here in the show we skipped a little bit further and we're already in winter. Um, that
It's
was
the
probably just a
meme.
logistical filming thing.
It's the
Yeah, that's the
meme.
meme. He's having the panic attack. Calm down, Joel. That I like Ellie's honesty. Like, hey, if I lose you, I'm fucked. Don't have a fucking heart attack on me, you asshole.
I saw an interview today that I thought was really funny, where somebody involved in the show, I don't know if it was the showrunner or one of the writers, was like, "Yeah, we're not going to be like Game of Thrones. We won't go past the source material."
Yep, I
Just
respect
throwing
that.
shade at one of your own network shows.
Lessons were learned.
No, I respect that. I don't know if The Last of Us Part Two's ending works as an ending to a television show.
Hmm. Yeah, we've talked about it before. I think a lot of that epilogue is what they'll expand a lot in the
Mm-hmm.
show, and there's room for it. Um, Again, that's interesting just because based on trailers, it sure looks like season two's covering an awful lot of the game, but we'll see. They've talked about going to 3 or 4 seasons,
I think if they're
so it'll be.
smart, season two will be the Ellie stuff, and then season three can be the Abby stuff.
I think we're gonna get that in some capacity. This is a scene that may have been cut from the game. I know there was concept art from the first game of Joel and Ellie around this campfire. And he lets her sip some alcohol for the first time. That's fun. Not the first time, but he doesn't know that.
You don't either because you had to correct yourself.
And it seems like this where I do disagree with some fans who say that the back half of the show is kind of rushed. Where I like how much we're still taking our time. Like you get all these little quiet moments with the two of them that aren't in the game.
There's right, but I think you're misunderstanding when people are saying rushed. They rush through a lot of the game sequences,
Mhm.
which is what makes it
And
feel rushed. This is fine, but personally, I'm watching an adaptation. I want to see the stuff that I here for adapted. They aren't as interested in that in this back half. They just want to move past that to get to the next talking scene, which isn't inherently good or bad. But I can see people saying it's rushed when you know the uh, the hospital scene is like 10 minutes. It feels like from memory, We don't do any of the underground stuff.
Mhm.
There's no infected in this entire episode, from what I remember.
No, not in this one. And that is where I'll throw a bone. Like, we could have used a little more infected in the back half. Again, I don't think we needed any more like giant swarms. Again, that's really fun for gameplay and that works for the game. But a few more encounters with like some clickers and stuff would
I
have been
feel like
cool.
Jeff Goldblum.
And
You are gonna have some monsters in your monster show, right?
we get a
I
couple
don't
more.
see why we can't have scenes like this in set pieces from the game.
Yeah, and part of that's of course budget stuff. I mean, this is an expensive show, but still, we got a lot of those big set pieces in the first half, and like I get it that there are budget constraints. Like we are coming off of an episode that ended very big.
Then you need to plan out your episodes better and pick a consistent runtime.
That's the modern streaming method, John.
This show takes it to an extreme. Most streaming
Ah,
shows, most streaming shows are 50 minutes to an hour. It's consistent. This show is 30 minutes one episode, 40 minutes another, an hour and a
none of
half
them are
one.
30 minutes. Are you gonna check them? None of
I
them are
am gonna
30
check.
minutes.
You might, to be fair, you might be correct. It's been a minute since I've looked.
And the first episode being the longest, being an hour and a half. That's not unusual for big shows like this. We often will have an extended premiere. The Walking Dead did that. But also, the first episode is actually just the first two episodes combined into one. But scenes like this banter is really good. Like her
Okay,
learning things,
so
picking up on things.
you were correct. None of them are 30 minutes, but we have at least three that are 50 or under. Just pick a consistent runtime. Yes, I get the first episode is like the first two, but then why is episode 3 an hour and 10 minutes?
It's fine.
And then why is the finale only 45 minutes?
I agree that the finale could be like 5 to 10 minutes longer, but also again, yes, they cut the whole underground sequence, which is fine. You're not missing any big story stuff there until the ending, which
No, but it would
they
provide some
work
much
into the
needed
show.
action in this back half of the season.
And I don't know. I think the second to last episode has plenty of tension. Again, I could use some more like just individual infected encounters. Like that's fair. But as far as the finale goes, again, I just don't think it's rushed because like if you're just looking at the cutscenes and take out the gameplay of the game, the final spring section, that's like 20 minutes of
But the problem is
cutscenes.
The Last of Us is not a cutscene only game. They tell
Mhm.
story through gameplay. So I
And
can't
most,
just separate the two.
yeah, but most of that gameplay story stuff that's there is in the show. That's why it's 45 minutes. I agree that I think the finale could have been 5 or so minutes longer,
Like,
but
okay, for
everything that's
example,
important needs to be
we're
there.
doing these long walking shots, which are cool, sure. But you could be doing, let's see, what point in the game is this? Because this is before Tommy.
Yeah, we're in fall. Oh, that's a bit from the game. Ellie practicing trying to learn how to whistle. But there's lots of walking sections in the game.
Okay, so
This is gameplay.
this is right after Henry and
Sam and
Sam,
Henry have died. Yeah.
and before Tommy. So really, we're instead of doing stuff from the game, we're expanding sections that don't need to be expanded.
Not by
Because in the
much.
game,
Like
you
like
go
we
straight from Tommy and from Sam and Henry to Tommy's. Like you're right outside their base.
yeah, but there's like the dam section. Like it's still like 20 minutes of gameplay.
You could have done the damn section.
Well, you
Oh.
kind of get it here, but
Uh-oh. Uh,
but
I'll
uh-oh.
be right
Are
back. My
you
disc is messing up.
Oh boy. You never know what to expect on a live stream. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, this is just some good Joel and Ellie walking stuff. Yeah, and that's again, it's true to the gameplay. There's a lot of walking in that game. And oh boy, who are these people? This is a little different from the game. But we make this a lot more tense of people from Tommy's group confronting them. That seems great. This is a great addition to the sequence. The Jackson community using dogs to sniff and see if people are infected or not. And there's a lot of tension here because you're like, is the dog going to pick up on that on Ellie? Like, you don't know. That's great.
That, no, I do like that addition because when you think about it, they don't test people like just let anybody
Mhm.
in.
Yeah, again, it works for the game. It's not a problem with the game, but we get through that very quickly where Tommy's there and says, oh, they're good. Let's come on in. But having him not present in this sequence adds a lot more tension to it.
I might be a few seconds behind, but it should be fine.
It's fine. I'm currently at
I have the
oh shit.
timestamp on the live stream,
All right.
dude. All good. No, I mean
But
I would
again,
still argue that is a problem with the game because it's not that isn't gameplay or cutscenes. That's just simple logic. Like, why aren't they testing people?
mhm. Yeah, it's a nice little surprise when the dog's cool. And again, I'm curious how this is going to lead into season two because here the Jackson community is shown as a little more aggressive
Although
up front.
this does raise a question. So they use dogs to smell infected, right?
Mhm.
But they can't smell it in Ellie.
Right.
So does that mean they can't smell it in other people? What is this test good for then?
I think. Well, no, it's they use dogs to smell and see if people are infected or not. I think it where it stops for her, they explain it later with like the brain and everything. But I think the idea is you just have to be further along for the dog to pick up on it. Um,
Yeah, but
so
in
she's
this,
not
it
fully
seems like
infected.
it moves really fast. Because she's losing, because Tess is losing control like 5 minutes after she's bitten in this.
Yeah, but as we see, Ellie's immune.
I
Like
understand
so,
that.
no, it just it stops at a certain point because of the
But
thing
my
with her
point
brain.
is, if that is to sniff out infected and they have to be in late stage, so you would have to get bitten minutes before you came across this community and then hope that the dogs smell it.
It can take people up to a few days to fully turn.
But that's
And
not what
still,
we've
these
established
people,
in this show.
yeah, but these people are out in the middle of nowhere. Like they don't know Joel, they don't know Ellie. Like for all they know, one of them could have been bit 5 minutes ago. Like so, yeah, I get it.
Except for the fact that there's no fucking infected around.
They talked about them earlier. They're avoiding them, and this scene's great. I actually like this reunion in the TV version more than the game. They really build this up more.
Well, that's just because this Joel is way more emotional.
There's no emotion in The Last of Us. Did you even play those games?
Cool.
And this is a section of the game I really like how we expand on, where the game adds like those action sequences with the raiders that you don't need for the show. And it's also like, in the context of the game, Joel and Ellie are here for like a few hours and then leave. And I like that in the show. It's like, no, they're here for a couple days. They really stretch this stuff out, and I think it works.
I like the game version better just because that would be more how estranged siblings would act.
I think both work. And we got
I
our
didn't
little
say
Dina
I didn't
cameo.
say they didn't both work. I'm just saying I prefer the other one. Jeez, so defensive, Robert. Um. Oh, okay. So that is officially supposed to be Dina.
Yeah. It's gonna be a different actress, obviously, but it's implied that that's Dina. Yeah, we get a lot more banter here with Ellie and Tommy than we get in the game.
Like that.
And now it's a Christmas show.
Knew it.
And this is one of their most impressive sets, though. Like, wherever, like, I think they found a town and then just built on top of it, just added more, and all this stuff from the game. Again, they really clearly looked more at the second game for how to construct Jackson here, and it's really
Well,
cool seeing it brought to
because
life.
okay, but to be fair, Jackson doesn't really exist in that first game. Or at least you don't see much of it.
Well, right, you don't see it. Like, the town is there, but we just get an
We're only at the
establishing
power
shot of
plant.
that. Right. But I will say one thing I should have mentioned up top. As much as I like this episode, I do think this is the one for me that covers more of the game than maybe it needs to. Like, if I were to split any episode into two, it would be this one. Not that I think anything is rushed. It's just there is more covered in this one than I think we need. We'll get to it by the end, but this is the episode I think you could have split into and expanded on more on the back half and had more run-ins with infected and stuff that you want.
That's the other thing is just 9 episodes are such a weird, arbitrary number to have.
Yeah. Well, and again, it was originally 10, which makes more sense. What year do you think it is, John? 1999?
Ooh,
We don't make
fucking.
25 episode seasons anymore.
I mean, we typically make like 10 to 12.
It depends on the show.
Name one show besides this one that is a 9 episode season of a modern TV show.
I mean, well, any Disney Plus show is
Those
usually
don't
under
count. Those
10.
are movies stretched out to 6 hours.
But The Mandalorian, I think, is consistently 8 episodes.
Is it?
I think so. Definitely under 10.
I haven't went back to those since they came out. I'm almost
And
scared
and
to.
that's yeah, and that's a more episodic show. That's not a movie stretched out until season 3.
Oh, I didn't see season 3.
You don't need to. I really like Pedro Pascal and Gabriel Luna's chemistry here as Joel and Tommy. And again, this is one argument we get in the game that I like that we get to cover over multiple conversations. It's not constricted by being just one cutscene. It's again, we get to let it breathe and see different shades of this relationship. So I like that you get a bit more variety here with them bickering and getting along and then getting angry. You get
The other
you
thing I
get all
don't
these
like
different shades of their relationship.
in this whole Jackson thing, and I don't think we've gotten there yet, is there somebody that has that line about, oh, so communism? It's like,
Yeah,
okay, that was a dumb joke.
I thought it was fine. And I like this addition, and it'll be interesting how it plays later in the show. I do like the addition of Maria being pregnant and how that kind of adds to the bitterness and resentment Joel's gonna have coming up. Where he's not happy for Tommy hearing that news. It's like it just rubs salt in the wound, over losing Sarah, and like, oh, so now you get to move on and have a family, and I don't. Like again, it's petty as fuck, but it's consistent with Joel's character.
I don't know if you needed a kid to do that. You've already got all the ingredients there. And that's just going to make season 2 feel more miserable when what happens to Tommy happens.
Yeah. But I'm also looking for like we've seen a couple photos. I'm looking forward to seeing like that Uncle Joel dynamic because the kid's gonna be there. But this also adds to Tommy's resistance
I
in
do like this
going on this
conversation where it's
mission.
like, no, we did those things, which is a little different. Where Tommy in the game lets Joel take all the blame for that.
Mhm.
I'm confused on the age difference here. So Joel is supposed to be like 56, on the upper
Mhm.
half of the 50s. How old is Tommy?
That is a good question. I mean, he's at least in his 40s.
Yeah. I don't know. And part of it is the actor. He doesn't look 40 to me.
Yeah, I think he's about 40 in real life.
Oh, no, wait. This one was the meme, I think.
Mhm.
Or maybe it was both of them.
Yeah, that's a nice little moment of like this girl who reminds him of Sarah.
I think
It's
you
the
mean
PTSD joke.
Sarah.
Sarah Harding.
I love the use of the main theme here.
Mhm.
Although it is a little like funny that he just so happens to set his eyes on the one person that has the exact same haircut as Sarah.
Yeah. That makes sense though. You pick up on and think irrational things when you've lost somebody that close to you. Even if it's many years later, your brain will still spot someone in a crowd and go, "Oh wait," you know. And now Ellie's wearing the jacket from the game. I recognize that.
Oh, you are ahead of me. Right now she's wearing a pink robe. I was like, what are you talking about? Yep, there's the jacket.
I like how we expand on some of this stuff with Ellie and Maria. You know, that all happens off, most of that happens off screen in the game, including uh Ellie mentioning later that Maria told her about Sarah and Joel's past. Like I like that we actually get to see that conversation in the show.
That's the stuff that you should be expanding on, not creating pointless scenarios that don't have anything to do with anything.
That's hyperbolic.
Is it though? Okay, so I have a question, and this is going to sound weird because it just popped into my head. Do you think that they're with this version of God, Sarah? No,
Maria.
Maria, because we give her more of a backstory. Does she remind you at all of Michonne from The Walking Dead? Because I think she's going to mention that she has like two kids from before that were killed.
That were killed. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe it's just the hair. I don't know.
I was going to say she's also got a similar haircut.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay, so we're 20 years out of the outbreak, right?
Yeah.
She was an assistant district attorney. How old is she?
40s. I don't know.
Okay, so what did she just skip law school?
She got out quick. I don't know. Are you an expert on this?
I mean, I'm not, but I know somebody that went to law school and was a lawyer, and it took him a long time.
Yeah, you can get a law license anywhere. So yeah, this actress is in her mid 40s.
This version of Maria is kind of bitchier. Like she just
Yeah.
instantly has a grudge against Joel for nothing.
Well, it's the stuff that she's been told about from Tommy. She's very like, even though Tommy owns up to the bad things he did, like you mentioned that line earlier, her interpretation of those events is like, yeah, but Joel was the older one. He was the bad influence, and you were a worse person when you were with him. Again, that's a very human, believable flaw. You know, if you meet and really get to know somebody who's out of like a toxic relationship and you only hear about that person through them, you're more likely to attribute the flaws you see or hear about to the person you don't know. And I like that we get to see one of Jackson's movie nights. That's not a movie I'm familiar with Richard Dreyfuss, but that's a thing that's mentioned in the second game is they have a projector and they do these movie nights. So it's cool that we get to see that. And I really like this quiet heart-to-heart scene we get with Joel and Tommy. And like I said, and maybe that's how it works with the dogs. Like maybe it's not that they can smell if people are infected. Like it's the sickness that they smell. Like it's fine. And so, like he said, like Ellie, she's infected, but she never got sick. It never reached that next stage. And some of these outside night shots at Jackson are just gorgeous and look right out of the second game with all the lights and the snow.
We can only see Jackson in the snow.
Like it was written in stone, John. These are facts we have
Apparently,
to abide by.
I think we talked about it when we were playing Resident Evil the other night. But I was reading some more on the Switch 2 games. For digital, it's $80. If you want a
Yep,
physical copy, 90.
that is
They are
some
out of
bullshit.
their goddamn minds.
They're getting greedy.
And
That's what happens when you ride high.
what pisses me off is that Nintendo games never go on sale.
Yep. In some cases, go out of print if you buy them physically.
But I like a lot of what they're doing with the hardware. They showed that Metroid Prime remaster can run at 120 FPS. For a first-person shooter, that's big.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and the Switch 2 costs more than a PS5. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, so what is it, like 600 or
It's
something?
450, but you
450.
can
Oof.
get the digital PS5, which is stronger, mind you, for 399. But don't worry,
And
on
like
Switch 2 you can play Cyberpunk at 30 FPS.
um but I really like this vulnerable moment for Joel. I think it's earned. We take our time with it, and it's him saying, "I want you to do this because I don't believe in myself anymore. I don't know if I can. Like, I'm going to let her down." Which is
I like
foreshadowing.
this, but the problem, and this is a problem that I have with this take with Joel. In the game, Joel says all of this with one sentence: Tommy, I need this. You get everything you need. But this show has to constantly have him over explain everything. I
I
get
don't
it.
think it's
He's
over. I don't
miserable.
think.
He's having a hard time. He's having panic attacks.
I don't think it's over explaining. It's just that, like you said, this is a softer take on Joel. He is a bit more stone cold in that game, and of course, and in better physical
He drinks
condition.
beer and rambles about
Um,
Austin 316.
but I like that the show takes the opportunities to lean into that stuff of his age. Like he's killed a lot of people, he's done a lot of bad things, but he's not physically that man anymore. He is getting up there in age and is starting to feel it. But it's what we call a monologue, John. I forgot you were one of those Flanagan haters.
Yeah, I like the monologue. It's just I've seen this scene done better.
Yeah, let's just agree to disagree. I like both versions. I really like his speech about like
I mean,
I'm
I'm not
having
saying that
these
this is bad. They're
nightmares.
both good. But I think if you can communicate all of that in one sentence, there's no need to have it turn
But
into
I
like a
don't.
5 minute
Yeah, and
monologue.
I don't know if that is all communicated in one sentence. It's just a different take. And the game, Joel feels more like what he's afraid of is just getting too attached to Ellie. Like, oh god, I don't want to love somebody again and then lose them. I want to bail out of this situation the first chance I get. Yeah, the take's a little different. And the stuff with Tommy and Jackson in the game is like we have a conversation, it's interrupted by an action scene because we need gameplay, and then that's done, and then we get back to that conversation, and the characters feel slightly differently about it. Here we get to let those scenes breathe a bit more, and then this just leads straight into like one of the best scenes from the game.
Yeah, and shocker, they do it verbatim, and it's good. Do more of that.
But again, there's that gameplay stuff cut out that I just don't think you need here, like Ellie running away, stealing the
I'm not
horse, fighting
talking
those
about the
bandits and stuff.
gameplay. I'm talking about the dialogue.
I
There
know.
is dialogue that they
I've
changed that doesn't need to be changed. Because, shocker,
Yeah,
when you just do the dialogue from the game, it's still good dialogue.
it is. I agree. And again, it's not 100% verbatim. There are little tweaks here and there, but it sticks very closely to it, and I think it needed to because it's one of the
It
best
hits
scenes in the game.
the major lines that you need from the game scene.
Mhm.
Because okay, so here's the thing, because you said it's two different takes. I disagree. I think in the game when he says I need this, it is a mixture of that and I'm getting older. Like it's harder for me to do this now. Whereas this Joel only tells him, oh, I'm getting older, like I'm falling apart, like I'm in bad headspace. And then when he gets to Ellie, it's no, you're not my daughter. I don't want anything to do with you. Like you get all of that in one line that takes 3 scenes in this.
And if we did the Tommy scene beat for beat in the show, I think it would have been fine. But I like that we expand on it. And again, it makes sense that he approaches both
Wait a minute,
conversations
how is she so
differently.
good in the scene? I thought she was going to be bad as it.
Bella nails it. Again, they're hard scenes to compare because you can never get that first reaction back. Like as much as I like the show, I'm always going to prefer the game. That experience is impossible to top. But boy, that scene comes close. And again, I'm not saying you're wrong, but the idea in the game of Joel getting older and feeling his age and stuff, I've never really gotten that. But again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just like that that's a take that the show gets to lean into because it's a video game, so you have to be able to kill hundreds of people and run and stuff. But this is another addition I like.
Even then, with the gameplay, I think when you compare it with two, you can see even in the gameplay you're limited by playing as a 60-year-old man or 50-year-old
Mhm.
man. He can't go prone. He can't really run. He's a tank. He's old and built. Whereas with Ellie, she's younger, agile. She can do more.
Mhm.
That stuff is all there. They're able to be more subtle with it.
Like I said, I like that we get to stay in Jackson a little longer in this version. Characters have more time to reflect and collect themselves. And then in the game, Joel makes the decision to, for both of them, and I like how we play it in the show coming up, where Joel, instead of just ditching her or changing his mind, Joel says, "Okay, I'm gonna give you the choice. Uh, we can go, or you could go with Tommy. And she's immediately like, nope, going with you. And again, their chemistry is great. Like so, my only gripe with this episode is we're now 45 minutes in. I think we could have ended here. I don't think we needed
Yeah,
like the next
you
15
could have had
minutes. I think we
the
could have expanded on.
bandits. You could have had the bandits strike because I don't think they do that.
No, they don't, again, I don't need it.
Oh wait, because we're already at the. I'm taking you.
Yeah, yeah, that's the gameplay stuff I was talking about earlier that I just don't think you need
I mean,
for the show.
but you need some action. Like that's the
It's
problem with
it's a
The Walking
drama,
Dead. You had episodes and episodes and nothing happening other than dialogue. You
but
you need
there's
to
a
throw
lot.
in some action. You need variety.
There's lots of story in this episode, and spoiler, we're gonna get there at the end of this episode. I was just saying, I think we could have ended it here and then gone to another episode. I do wouldn't mind. I do think the season could have been an episode longer. But the bandit stuff, yeah, I don't need it in the show. It's a drama. The story is happening. Action is happening.
What
Characters are
action has
making
happened in this
choices.
episode?
The conversations.
That's
That's
not
action,
action.
John.
That's not action. That's dialogue.
Oh my god, are we really gonna have this debate? Characters are making choices. They are changing.
That
That
is
is
not
action.
action. Action is
But you're
gunfights, zombie fights, stuff like that.
but you're acting like nothing's happened in this episode, which is just
No,
not
that is
true.
not what I said. I said no action has happened.
But there's been tension, like when they run into Maria and that crew. Like again, it's a drama. We just came off of an episode with lots of action and some big emotional, heavy moments. You need the breather in between, and in this scene I like a lot. With
Oh,
her
oh right. I'm
them
sorry.
teaching
I
her how to use a
forgot in
gun.
TV
This is
shows you only
action.
get one action scene per every few episodes.
I didn't
Thank
say that.
God Daredevil didn't have any fight scenes after that first episode.
This shot's great. Their horse. Again, this is just the stuff that I think could have been expanded into its own episode. It's really good, but I think we could have ended that
Yeah.
episode when they
So
leave
all,
Jackson.
yeah, because all you do
And
is
you could have
you have
had
her,
more infected.
or imagine the tension if she ran off like she does in the game.
I didn't
And
need that in the show. I love how you agreed with me when I said that 10 minutes ago, and now you're changing your mind.
because I must have misunderstood you. It's just funny that every time that there's something that from the game that could have been in here that would have, A, gotten you to what you wanted, where this episode is still an hour long, but they cut it off with them leaving. And B, would have added some fighting to this episode, which is why people feel it was rushed because they just cut out all of the action.
I
Action
just don't.
being two people fighting, not two people making a decision.
Choices,
I
yes,
don't
that
need
is
that from
accurate.
the game. The game wasn't an action game. There was just talking and dialogue.
I thought it was a walking simulator.
That's true.
I don't disagree that I could use more infected and stuff. I just didn't need the bandits. I don't think we're missing anything.
Then switch it to she runs away, they go find her, and the infected show up.
I didn't need her running away. That scene plays totally fine in the show, where they're at Jackson for a couple days. He goes to see her in her room, and then they have that argument.
But you love tension. There's plenty of tension there. She runs away.
I didn't say it didn't work in the game.
Well, if it worked in the game, then it would work in this.
Not necessarily. This is a TV show. Like, it needs to be paced differently than the game. We can't have every conversation being interrupted by an action sequence. I don't disagree that we could have had a couple
I'm
more
asking
in
for
this back half.
There is no action sequences in this episode. I'm asking for one.
Yeah, we're gonna get there, John.
Okay, then I'm asking for two because if I remember correctly, this one is barely an action sequence. They trimmed the hell
It's very
out of
quick.
this.
Yeah. And again, it's fine. Like, it works, but this is the stuff in the episode I think we could have expanded more on. But again, we do get those really important conversations from the game. Like Joel telling Ellie about college, and this location's great.
Yeah, I'm so
This
glad
was
they cut out all of
first
that,
set
all of the laboratory stuff too. We're not going to get
You
any
get a little bit of it.
exploring or.
Again, you get the important stuff. But this is where we
Robert,
get.
there's no monkeys. I need the monkeys.
I actually don't remember if they cut the monkeys or not. We shall see.
I actually don't remember either, but I just feel like they probably did because the people who made this show hate me.
You were in a salty mood today. We're only one episode in.
If it makes you feel better, I love the next episode.
Next episode's great. Yeah, they're the monkeys. They are here. First time seeing a monkey.
I'm stating things that you could do and that you could, adapt in your adaptation.
This is all from the game. We are looking at stuff from the game. They are adapting plenty of it.
The bare minimum. Oh, they showed us a place from the game.
I love John. This is a 9-episode series, and you're calling it the bare minimum. I just don't agree with that. Imagine if this was a 2-hour movie.
I would be complaining just as hard. Like, if you're gonna do a show,
I'd
then
argue
do it
you'd be
properly.
complaining harder.
I'd probably be
I think
complaining
it is done
hard.
properly. Again, I don't think it's perfect.
Lip service to a set piece from the game is enough. Adaptation.
We don't need every single set piece from the game put into the show.
I don't either, but if you're gonna have it, then do it properly.
Like I said, but again, there's budget, there's sets we have to build, there's places
It's
we have to go to.
there.
I get why. Like, yeah, we're looking at a lobby. Dressed.
Actually, I'm looking on the outside, so.
Yeah. I get that there are budget constraints and you need to cut set pieces.
I understand that there's a budget constraint. You've already cut a bunch of set pieces, but you're already here. You can't hire a bunch of people with guns to come in and do a firefight?
I could have used a longer firefight. I think that's fair. Again, we trim it down just one death that's gonna... That shot's kind of cool. It looks a lot like the game, like picking up the note. Which is right out of the game, and now we're gonna do the bit with the monkeys. Like, I agree. We could have had more action here. That's fine. We're gonna simplify it to just one kill. That David's group is gonna be pissed over, which is fine because we get to learn more about that guy. So again, the essential stuff is here, like the important stuff is here. But I don't disagree that in this section, yeah, I could use a little more action and a couple more run-ins with infected. I don't disagree.
Robert, I'm going to introduce a concept. When you move from plot point to plot point, doing the bare minimum between plot points of adaptation, that's what we call cliff notes.
It doesn't feel like cliff notes to me at all. I think we take our time on the important stuff, and we did the monkey callback. Well, no clickers, no fireflies either. I think this is all paced fine.
I mean, hey, okay. I'll give them that. They did the monkey.
Monkey. You watched the monkey today, which I still haven't seen.
It was pretty good. I had issues, but I'd love the show a lot more if they turned into monkeys.
Well, more shows should have that.
Yeah. The other thing that removing all of the bandits and the zombies adds that you're not thinking about, Robert, is this has been the easiest road trip on the face of the planet. These two have faced
Did,
very little.
did you watch the last episode?
That is the okay. So they faced a horde where the only one of them that was in danger was Ellie, and she hid in a car.
Crazy town, and a crazy town that they had to sneak around.
But other than that, like this is one of the easiest road trips in the planet. They never run into it. They never run into the infected that they're supposed to be deathly afraid of.
They talked about them at the beginning of this episode. They're like, yeah, there was some infect in this area. We had to avoid that. And we got like that. They're at least talked about.
So
like,
they're the luckiest people on the planet.
You could say the same about the game.
But I can't because they always run into infected or bandits or.
And they come out without a scratch because it's a game.
That's not true. I played the game. I died a lot in that game.
Yeah. Like I said, I could have used a couple more.
I'm glad that this is all we got of that bandit encounter. He tackled somebody and got stabbed.
Yeah, that's right. No, I do like the way that bit's choreographed though, because the guy had a baseball bat, swung, missed, smashed it, and then stabbed him with the handle. Like I do like the way that fight was choreographed. And yeah, and again, the important stuff is still here. Now Joel is wounded. And again, this is an important scene we do let take its time.
Do we? That was the most rushed fight scene of all time.
Yeah, but the fight isn't the important part. What comes after is the important part.
Okay, but without the fight, what comes next is just I don't know the climax without any build-up.
More action sequences.
It would be like if Daredevil didn't have a fight scene from episode 3 to the finale.
That's not what's happening here. And B, there are lots of episodes of Daredevil, I think you're just misremembering it, that don't have a lot of action. Like, the episode 2, the big hallway fight, the iconic hallway fight, most of that episode is just build up to that final 5 minutes.
And it's longer than the fight scene that we just got.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do build up, then I need the payoff.
I already said I think that's a section you could have expanded on.
And yet you keep arguing with me that it's not.
Well, I still think that episode is very good. The Jackson stuff's great. The stuff with Tommy's great. Pedro and Noah's chemistry is great.
7.5 out of 10.
But these next 2 episodes might be my favorite of the season.
This next one is one of my favorites.